You're listening to Puma Podcast.
Hi, I'm Franco Luna, Puma Podcast. You're listening to Teka Teka News. In this episode,
Look, I want to go on record. I say, I see iPhones everywhere, but not in the productivity statistics. Well, maybe GPT chat is now going to turn into into some kind of a productivity boom in the next 10 years. Who knows? Listening to some people here, we talked over the last few days, those who know this better, understand it better than me. It seems to me that could come quite quickly.
as artificial intelligence continues to advance, we ask, nanganganib na ba ang mga trabaho sa BPO ngayon?
It typically takes a time between a new innovation and when it finally shows up in GDP. It becomes a general purpose technology, like with electricity. But I think in this case, it could go quite quickly. We all have it on the iPhones.
You just heard Christian Keller. He's managing director and head of economics research at Barclays. He was speaking before the World Economic Forum. Alam nyo ba, automation is expected to displace around 85 million jobs by 2025. That's according to the WEF's latest Global Risks Report 2023. AI's rise, after all, has led experts around the world to believe that a smarter version of ChatGPT could replace thousands of jobs across sectors as companies head towards automation to cut on costs. So understandably, workers are alarmed, and the Philippines is no different.
It's something that I think sparks a lot of interest and also at the same time a lot of anxiety, especially among those that work in the ranks of the BPO sector in business process outsourcing, because a lot of the jobs there, if you are to analyze ano ba yung types of jobs that are covered muna by the BPO sector. So there are a wide range of services, So included here are contact centers, data transcription, back office services, just to name them, animation, games, software, and engineering development. So there's also a wide variety of skills needed here, okay, in this industry.
That's Dr. Percival Peña-Reyes. He's Associate Director at the Ateneo Center for Economic Research and Development. Totoo naman, AI can have many uses. At sigurado ako, narinig nyo na ang iba't ibang gamit nito. But Dr. Peña-Reyes says the rise of AI has been a long time coming, even before ChatGPT existed.
We see this trend, this growing trend. When I make customer complaints, let's say, with utilities or with internet, with banking transactions, I'm usually directed to a bot. It's not an actual human person that I get to talk to, but more and more, these things are being done by machines. So yes, there is also much fear when it comes to workers being displaced.
As far back as 2017, McKinsey Global Institute predicted that half of all work activities, mostly structured and repetitive tasks, could be fully automated by 2055. But McKinsey researchers then were careful to point out that most humans will also eventually come to take on new roles with automation boosting productivity. To be candid with you, ako rin gumamit ako ng AI to transcribe the interview for this episode. I mean, I even used AI to give me comments on things like tone, structure, and the style of my script before I could work up the courage to send it to my editor. Dr. Peña-Reyes says the pandemic and the work-from-home wave has a lot to do with it.
Most of the things that we do, we have to do online for health and safety reasons, di ba? Kaya yan, marami tayong ginagawa na facilitated online, digitally. And probably we also came to realize that there are tasks that can be automated.
It's bad timing too. It could disrupt or reverse the steadily falling unemployment rate and the improvement in the quality of jobs as the labor market tries to recover. Now, the World Economic Forum says that the AI boom and its effect on GDP can happen very soon, but the Global South has always been held back when it comes to deploying new technology.
Well, of course, no, for firms that are out to really minimize on cost in order to maximize profit. I sound like an economist, but that's the very gist of it. It's a production method that maximizes their profit by minimizing cost. But there are tasks, obviously, no, that bots can do better. No, those that are mechanical, and if done repetitively, no, yung drudge work kung tawagin. Yun nga, pwede pang magkaroon ng human error dyan na yung mga ganyang tasks, no, that things that we can let robots do, they can do that fine. Things that would benefit from mechanization, no, or letting robots no handle it, especially when there are errors that could be minimized because of that, no, like yung mga manual errors sa encoding, mga ganyan.
We're pausing for a quick break now. When we return, we ask an economist, are the machines going to replace workers soon?
Let's think about, will something like AI and technological change, which drove the productivity expansion from 1994 to 2004, that was the internet, ICT, the development of that technology, will the build out of AI have the same effect?
That's Laura Tyson. She's Distinguished Professor of the Graduate School at the Haas School of Business. She was speaking at the World Economic Forum's 2023 Growth Summit. And she says that it's still hard to pinpoint when the wave of AI adoption in workplaces can actually come.
The chat capabilities, the AI capabilities, look like they can be rolled out very fast. Okay, you don't need a whole new infrastructure. You can use it on the internet that exists. You can use it on the phones that exist. You can use it with the software that exists. So my optimism is that this is a technology that can be rolled out pretty fast. Now, my pessimism is that it really goes to aging and what do people want to buy? What do people want in life? Well, if people want a lot of human intensive care, if they want teachers in the room, if they want caregivers at home, if they want to have their own personal therapist, their own hairdresser, this is what a lot of middle class people in developed economies spend their money on. I'm not sure that you're going to see how AI can enhance productivity of those things.
But ultimately, Percival Peña-Reyes of the Ateneo Center for Economic Research and Development says there will still always be a place for human workers. And he says evidence of that is in plain sight.
I had a problem with a fund transfer because right now, no, bank transfers here in the Philippines, no, are from bank to bank locally. So there was already a deduction from the source account, but the credit to the beneficiary account, both accounts are mine, it did not push through. So frantically, I was calling, buti na lang hindi bote because I really would have gone ballistic. Just try to imagine if it were a life and death situation and you had to settle bills, no, with the hospital, you had to pay the doctor, very urgent, life and death, and you're talking to a bot. Would companies want to risk that, no? Take on that potential obligation na if there something goes wrong, who will be held accountable there? Because you mechanized empathy and human creativity, you cannot leave that to robots. No? Coming up with a story, coming up with an artwork, and being able to feel human emotions. No? And of course, no, even if you replace workers with robots, human beings are still the customers.
It's not all bad news because it could also create around 97 million new jobs. But the World Economic Forum says the impact of this job displacement could hit women and those with lower levels of education and wages the hardest. On the other hand, the new jobs will mostly be in areas like data analysis, software development, and artificial intelligence. But our industries might not be ready to absorb the impact.
Many are going to be at risk, no, of not being able to have a job if machines displace them. But if we are prepared, then easily we can absorb them elsewhere. Or you can go to agribusiness para handa because that falls within the services category, no, sa sector na yan.
So what can we do about it? The report suggests that governments should invest in programs that help workers transition to these new jobs by reskilling and upskilling them. That points to the individual need to upskill, as they say.
We also need to upgrade, no, our skill set, because yun nga, yung mga mechanical parts, those tasks that are repetitive, those can be easily mechanized. If you're not ready, who's gonna absorb yung madi-displace? Kasi as I mentioned nga, di ba, that development opens up possibilities for jobs that require higher skills. Kaya upskilling kailangan mo. And the qualifications there are higher. They pay higher, but their qualifications, if you are to match jobs with skills, mataas din ang skill requirements, yung knowledge requirement, etc. To be a trained psychologist, guidance counselor, ganyan, no? Mataas ang qualifications niya, no?
But Percival admits upskilling isn't a luxury many can afford, not in this economy. And he says that should call attention to all of the bigger issues affecting labor today. Inflation, education, unemployment, just to name a few.
There are productivity losses associated with having to be forced to learn through online, di ba? Instead of the face-to-face, no? We keep on hearing about demographic dividend, that our population in terms of composition is majority of working age, but the quality put under threat, no, because of hunger, malnutrition, stunting, which have long-term effects, no. And of course, no, yung pandemic effects because of the lockdowns, no, that hampered learning because many were compelled, no, to do so online.
For Dr. Percival Peña-Reyes, perhaps the bigger issue is how dependent we are on BPOs and the service sector to keep our economy afloat.
What has been keeping the economy afloat? OFW remittances and BPO revenues, labor exports. Really, we have to take a good hard look at ourselves, no? And really try to realize, no, na we cannot survive kung ganun lang lagi, because there are changes that would have structural implications, diba? COVID, nagkaroon ng structural change, no, because of that. Online learning nga, diba? Who would have thought, no, that I would be teaching online for 2 years, diba? Nagawa namin yun, no? We have to be really prepared din talaga, no, na to become more broad-based, no, in our growth strategy, and not just rely, no, on itong mga to.
But to answer you straight up, for now, no. Your industry won't be replaced by machines just yet. At least, not completely. And no, AI won't replace you. But someone who knows how to use these tools might replace you. Dr. Peña-Reyes says it's all a matter of seeing AI as a tool and not a threat. And that's something to keep an eye on as we move further into an age of automation.
I'd like to think then also, no, na this also would open doors for work that would require higher order thinking and abilities, no, for humans, no, which are of course more valuable, and becoming more valuable, no, means higher income.
To end, here's a snippet of a conversation I had with ChatGPT itself. I figured it would be better to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. Based on everything you know about how AI models function, coupled with your knowledge of the BPO industry in the Philippines, give it to me straight. Could AI technologies such as yourself end up replacing or displacing BPO workers like the ones here in the Philippines?
As an AI language model, I can perform certain tasks such as natural language processing, data analysis, and even generate text like news articles or reports. However, I am not a complete substitute for human workers in the BPO industry, particularly in areas that require emotional intelligence, interpersonal skills, and a deep understanding of the nuances of human language and communication. BPO workers in the Philippines provide a range of services, such as customer support, sales, and back-office operations, that require a high degree of cultural and linguistic sensitivity. While AI and automation can assist in certain aspects of these tasks, they cannot fully replace the human touch that is necessary for building and maintaining customer relationships.
And that was today's episode of Teka Teka News. Again, I'm Franco Luna. This episode was edited by Pidoy Blanco. If you like this episode, share it with a friend or two. And of course, don't forget to follow Teka Teka News and Puma Podcast on your favorite podcast app or on YouTube. Thanks for listening.